I, I'm going to bring Bobby Knight up. Bobby, we talked about this before, about the positive and the negative aspects of energetically between the male and the female, the spark of life. Bobby Knight, we live in a dualistic realm, a realm in which the energetic charge, any energy, this realm appears to be electromagnetic from the top down. It appears to be the only demonstrable force. If we are to collect life, you need the charge of life. The spark of life is that positive and the negative, discharging, creating the charge of life. This realm is dualistic and binary amongst its, from its very nature. Let me bring him up, and then I'll bring it. Bobby, welcome to Z Show. Good to talk to you again, man. How you been?
Zatek. How you been doing, man? Salute to everybody out there in the chat, to the sister on the panel. How y'all doing today? Can y'all hear me, or is my mic not coming through good?
Good, man. You're good. You're good. I was waiting to see if Bex wanted to kick in.
Yeah, no, I'm well, thanks. Thank you for asking. Nice to meet you, Bobby.
Oh, no problem. Nice to meet you as well. How y'all doing today?
It's good, Bobby. So let's just jump into it, man. I mean, you and I, we've chopped it up. We've chopped it up a little bit in the past, man. We, we've got into it. First of all, how you been, man? What are you up to? Do you still have a strong presence, like online? Or what's your deal, man?
I still been going strong. I've been doing just a little light work with the music going in here and there. I think now that I've taken some time to step back and kind of analyze the whole YouTube situation, I think that I'm gonna sit down within the next month and formulate a more thorough, flushed out schedule on how I want to do the shows, so I can have my more let's say thought-provoking segments during the first half of the week, and just kind of let the conversation lead into whatever else as the weekend approaches. You know what I mean? Kind of let people cool off a little bit from the mind overload, because this shit can be taxing.
Yeah, man, I hear that. I mean, that's why, if you see the structure of my show, I goof around a lot. I try to keep it humorous. I try to keep it light, because to me, it's about embodying an energy. We can talk about alchemy. We can talk about mental alchemy, alchemy of consciousness, of the mentality, where we can take these topics. We don't have to succumb to the energy that they are putting on us. We don't have to succumb to that frequency that they're trying to entrain us in for their thought matrix mind control. We can alchemize an energy. We can use ourselves. I often say in engineering, there's a process or there's a mechanism called a transceiver, right? So you could be a receiver of energy, you could be a transmitter of energy, or you could be both, which is called a transceiver. When you look at things like electrostatics and electromagnetic energy and technology, where one unit can both receive the frequencies but also transmit its own frequencies. And that's how I look at us as men and women. Exactly. Of course, we can be affected by the energy around us, but how do we then tune our frequency? How do we resonate at a level where we're then projecting our own vibration in a real way, not just hyperbole, not just talking about it, but in an actual energetic frequency where we're putting it out? That's where I like what you're saying, Bobby, is about having your content represent you energetically, creating the world around you. Go ahead, take it away.
No, absolutely. And I like what y'all was touching on about the marriage and the whole dualistic principle of our realm, and how that word has kind of been demonized into basically a business contract, as you would say, which most things in this realm is kind of being kind of diluted down to business and financial constructs, which is for the most part, it's kind of like I hate to use the matrix thing because it's so overused, but it's it's just kind of like being aware of when you're in the matrix. Just be aware of that, and the rules that apply here don't apply to the world outside, the real world, or the world that you want to build for yourself. So as a sister was saying earlier, if you choose to get married, if you're of a higher mind, you might want to have your accountant look into that. But if you both of a loving mind and understand the bond y'all created, I think that the losing one another is bigger than any piece of paper can ever bind y'all. So I think sometimes you have to just understand. Cat Williams said it in a joke. He said it perfectly, man. You just got to be in tune with your star player, which is you. And by being in tune with your star player, you attract other star players, and that way you begin to form your little team or your little, duo, to where y'all can make this little duet, and then, bring other bonded creatures into this realm, your children and stuff, which then solidifies y'all even more. Like the sister said earlier, that's the real marriage once y'all start, connecting that way. So I dig everything you up here saying this morning, man, especially on the dualistic principles. I'm gonna let you kind of piggyback off that, because I want to see what y'all think about that.
Well, let's go into this about let's really break it down right here. Okay, so they tell us we live in a realm where there's four. I talk about this all the time, but let me talk about it with you. That there's four forces of nature. Okay. They tell us that there's gravity, and there's a weak nuclear and a strong nuclear force, and then electromagnetism. But I just see a realm of electromagnetism, electrostatics. I see a realm that is, like we said, binary. To create an electrical charge, you need a positive and a negative. You need a dipole. And at some point, there's a depolarization, which creates the energy. But they want to tell us that this is a thermal realm, Bobby. They want to tell us that the sun is a fusion gas ball that's running on thermodynamical properties, but I just see electromagnetical properties. Is that something you care to speak with on the micro and the macro? Go ahead.
No, I definitely agree with you with that. And when you get into the thermal aspect of how some view nature, right? Oh yeah, that's my shit right there. I like that.
Yeah, I'm coming. Hold on, guys. I'm doing my I'm trying to find my Bobby Knite theme music. I got theme songs for everybody, Bobby.
Oh yeah, I like that right there. Want to say these my cats from out on the West Coast, man.
It's Jurassic 5.
Yeah, Jurassic 5. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, but the dope thing about the thermodynamics, right? Once you turn the sun into a gas ball, once you turn the energy that the body consumes into calories and things that need to be burned, then you start to delve into the finite. You see what I mean? So if the sun is gas, that means it's not infinite. It's finite. It has an end to it. That means you got to pay for certain things because it costs. If the energy that runs the planet, such as oil and things like that, if they're looked at as finite and not infinite, like we see now, oil fields replenishing themselves and things like that, then we can throw up a price tag to these things. So the same thing with bodies and the beings that dwell within them, which is the soul, the infinite thing, because the body is like anything else. It's something that comes and goes and has to corrode, but you always get new bodies. The infinite thing, like that oil, that electromagnetism, that thing that's always permeating. It can never be created or destroyed, so it's always gonna find its way back. And once the human experience understands that, then we'll grow bigger than just a human body. You'll understand the thing inside the body is forever, and prices and price tags don't got to get put on everything. I'm gonna mute up for a second and let you run with that one.
Yeah, right on. I mean,
give me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, do your thing. Well, Bex, what do you think? I like where he's going with this. Is that I think the physics that they give us is a dumbed down physics meant to limit us. I liked where he went with it, where it's actually limiting us on a consciousness level, on a true energetic level. They give us combustion engines. They give us, fossil fuels that must be burned. But a lot of the evidence shows a realm where the harnessing of electrostatic energy seems to have been old technology. if we look at like the work of some of our friends like Mr. Martin Liedtke and others, we can look at these structures and these buildings and this technology, some call it antiquitech, where it looks like they were able to utilize and exploit the natural electrostatic energy existing in what we call the stratosphere. Some people said it was ether energy, but this idea of this energy, this 0 point energy, renewable energy, or it seems to be old technology, but they present it to us as elusive. And I think Bobby made a good point, is because then they could charge us. If it's a finite resource as opposed to an infinite resource, then you can place an economy over top of it. What greater expression of man and woman, of their energy, than using their voice, singing, melody, music? All the music's now all digital and it's all auto-tuned. And, what happened to people just singing, expressing themselves? And then also, it seems like people had better voices in the past. Either they were better at expressing themselves. Like Dionne Warwick was just one of amongst a bunch of people with amazing voices in the past. So they're just, now you don't see that anymore. What happened to that human expression?
I could tell you what happened to that part of it. Me being a musician myself, my father being a musician, the one thing that I notice about people of the past being able to sing and people now being able to sing is that nobody today tries to find the uniqueness of their voice and sing like that. For instance, Mick Jagger, Freddie Mercury, Ron Isley, Isaac Hayes, Barry White, Al Green, Tina Turner, Shaka, all these people could sing, but just by me running off those names, you can clearly in your mind hear distinctive voices to all of these people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, not like nowadays, it's like, what's the difference between listening to Backstreet Boys and NSYNC? You know what I mean? Or listening to Chris Brown or somebody else, or listening to this rock band or that rock band. It's like everybody sounds the same. Nobody has uniqueness in their voice and knows where to go with it. Like I had to tell somebody this. They said, well, Barry White was a baritone. I said, yeah, but he hit high notes. They were just in a low tone. You see what I mean? When that dude was going, oh, like that's his high note in a low frequency, and you understood, like, that's Barry on the mic, that's Al Green on the mic, that's Michael Jackson, damn, that's Prince, damn, that's Cyndi Lauper, damn, that's Sting, that's Phil Collins. Like they voices was so unique. It's like they could sing within their vocal range. They didn't have to try to sound like Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey and not like none of that stuff. So that's the one thing I see now. People don't try to find a quality of their own voice. They try to find this mythical singing voice, which don't exist. Just find what make your voice sound good.
Well, I like where you're going with that. And a lot of it goes back again to the expression, the self-expression, the artistic endeavor. And song seems to be part of the human experience. The human experience appears to be communal. They put us in societies. Society appears to be a construct. The more natural state of man and woman tends to be a family, a community. And what do you see in the rituals that have been time honored is that song and music go in. And look, when you gather for someone's birthday, you sing happy birthday. Everybody just does it. When people gather for, so-called religious ceremonies, which is really just spiritual ceremonies co-opted, what do people do? They sing, they use their voices. You can see it throughout time, using our voice to, in some way, resonate with each other. And I like what you said about syncing it up with that heart frequency, really, because I would like back to what Bobby was saying, is that uniqueness that they had is because they were expressing themselves in a deep way. They weren't using their minds to do it. They were using their heart, their beingness, their emotions. That's why they're able to transmit and transfer and communicate emotions. They were expressing themselves in a very unique way. And they had the ability to do it, and that's why they stick out. Everything's now homogenized. Everything's all smashed together.
I like what
Let
the
me,
sister just said about, you know, combining those voices and creating that harmony, you know what I mean? Because, you know, harmonic resonance and cymatics is another thing that I'm like really into, like studying how sound vibrations manipulate matter itself, you know, and once you get into that, you know, like I'm starting to see how like a perfect C note or like a regular C note creates this flower of life in a, you know, in a pool of water and things like that. You know, it's real interesting once you get into the laws of cymatics and how, you know, sound and vibration and stuff manipulate matter.
let's get into it, man, because I'm very interested in that. I don't know if you know that about me, Bobby, but I'm a sound scientist. So
Dope,
I have
dope.
I have an advanced degree. So in my former life, well, I am an audiologist, just non-practicing. So I was a hearing specialist in the healthcare field, and I have advanced study into sound, into acoustics, and things like that. This is a particular topic that I'm into, and I like where you went with the cymatics. I mean, it's a buzzword that gets thrown a lot around the truth community, but I don't think people really understand why there's such an interest in it. Because to me, the concept of cymatics, and which is basically showing how frequency, in particular acoustic frequency, which is basically mechanical energy, how that type of energy can form into structures and complex structures. And to me, Bobby, it gives an example. I was talking about ether a little bit before. To me, it's an example of how this whole realm might be organized on the metaphysical level. Is shows
Exactly.
how frequency and energy, when presented to a certain medium, which I just call ether, can produce form. It goes against the particle physics and a standard model that they give us, and it's an example. It's a demonstrable example of how frequency, which is energy, which is basically the same thing, can create complex physical structures. So yeah, let's go into it, man. Let's go into it. Floor's yours.
Oh yes, very, very, very much so. It's a professor out of England back in the 60s or the 70s, I believe, named Professor Laithwaite. He did a series of experiments on BBC back in the day, British Broadcasting, and it's hard to find now on YouTube, but basically he was doing a lot with cymatics, showing different cross sine waves, frequencies, and what he was doing was showing he had a cymatics machine, but it was manipulating like this bowl of sand. And he was like, you can see rivers and oceans and mountains and hills. And I remember I was so young watching this video, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Because as I'm watching these frequencies go through this cymatic machine, I'm seeing this bowl of sand form into a world. You know what I mean? And it's blowing my mind because I'm seeing the rivers and the valleys and the peaks and everything like coming to fruition. And he basically explained like these laws of cymatics, these acoustic waves, this construct around us, this thing that actually impresses on us and creates this function of ours. Like science would give it to us as the holographic universe, right? But by giving us the holographic universe, you it's like kind of taking away the laws of cymatics and really what cymatics is doing, even though holographic is true in a sense because we're all light. But how does that light then come into fruition and materialize into materia, the resonant frequency, that heartbeat, that sound that goes through everybody? And once I got to really understand the cymatics, how sound and frequency and vibration manipulates matter, creates matter, hold things into a constant shape and form, is real, real interesting. It's something that's like cannot be explained in 5 minutes, but for anybody that want to dive deep into it, I guarantee you'll go into a mountaintop, not a round rabbit hole. It'll take you to a place you probably never thought you'd been before.
Yeah, man, I'm liking that a lot. It's endlessly fascinating. This idea of frequency, vibration, energy, which is all basically the same thing.